I'm here in the spin room ahead of the Democratic debate, and joining me now, Democratic and National Committee Chair Tom Perez. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be with you. Thank you for partnering with us.
So tell me how you're feeling, first of all, heading into tonight, because the gloves really came off last debate, and we're expecting nothing less for this one.
Well, I'm excited. The American people want to size up their candidates. We're a few days away from South Carolina, which is the first opportunity at great scale. North of 50% of the voters here are African American, so it gives that great opportunity for a backbone of the Democratic Party to have their voice heard. And then obviously we're a week from Super Tuesday, so all eyes are on South Carolina tonight. And I think what people are going to see is a Democratic Party where, yes, we're going to have spirited debate, but we had this in 08, and we came together as a party. And what unites us, what people will see, whether it's healthcare, whether it's making sure that the economy works for everyone, not just a few at the top. What unites us far outweighs what our differences are.
So I guess then the next question was going to be, how concerned are you that the fractures that could be emerging here and have been emerging over the course of this primary contest could in fact be major liabilities come time for the general?
You know what? We have a uniter right now, and that is Donald Trump and the existential threats to our democracy. Every candidate running for president has enthusiastically taken a pledge to support unequivocally and quickly whoever our standard bearer is. And I am confident that they will do that, because this isn't about any one candidate. This is about the democracy imperative of winning. And when you look at the polling, whether it was a Washington Post poll of a week ago or a Quinnipiac poll of 2 weeks ago, every candidate who was on the debate stage last week was ahead of Donald Trump in a head-to-head matchup. So we've got to make sure we'll continue to have this spirited debate, and I'm confident that we will come together.
I want to take a step back a moment and talk about the overall process here. The Buttigieg campaign is alleging irregularities in the Nevada caucus results after both he and Bernie Sanders challenged the Iowa caucus results. Is it time for the party to get rid of caucuses?
Well, first of all, I'm very proud of what happened in Nevada. The results have been returned 100% in, and I have great confidence in what happened there. And if somebody wants to write a letter, then what they need to do is, if they think that something was wrong, ask for a recount. I don't think that's going to get you anywhere, because that result was, I think, very, very accurate, and I was proud to work with the Nevada Democratic Party on this. After every cycle, we have a conversation about what we need to do differently and better. And I think the two things we're going to talk about after this cycle is over, after we defeat Donald Trump, are going to be the issue of caucuses and the issue of the order of the primary process. We took some major steps in 2018 to reduce the number of caucuses. We incentivized states to move from caucuses to primaries. 14 states had caucuses last time. 7 of those 14 took us up on those incentives and became primary states. We can't order a state to become a primary state for the simple reason that you have to pass a state law. And there are some Republican states who have Republican governors who refuse to have taxpayer-funded elections. I think that's ill-advised of governors to refuse democracy, but I can't control that. And so we are absolutely going to have those conversations. I personally believe that the Democratic National Committee ought to be in the business of winning elections, not running elections. I think that's a more effective use of our resources, and I would rather see state-run primaries for the simple reason that more people can participate.
What about Iowa? Has it earned the right to retain its status as first in the nation?
Well, again, we will have I'm confident we will have all of these conversations after the cycle is over. And
that doesn't sound like a yes.
Well, what it sounds like is you've got to convene all the stakeholders and give everybody an opportunity to be heard, and then have that conversation. I think we need to have a hard conversation about the fact that the Democratic Party of 2020 is far different than the Democratic Party of 1980, demographically and otherwise, and we need to reflect that in the order of our primary season. And we have to have a conversation about caucuses. We had it again in this past cycle, and we need to continue that conversation. I think they're critically important elements.
As you know, House Majority Whip Congressman Jim Clyburn is calling for South Carolina to become the first primary state. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, that's going to be that conversation.
You're not giving anything away?
We're going to have. No, again, here's what we did after 2016. We had a conversation about 2 big issues: superdelegate reform, which we completed, and we have a different system this cycle than we had last cycle. And then the second issue was primary and caucus reform. And we got halfway there. We need to complete that conversation on primary and caucus reform. We need to continue this conversation that you and I are having about order. And I'm confident that there is going to be, I'm certain there's going to be that conversation, because I think the time has come for us to ask the question in 2024, what does America look like? What will America look like? And what should the Democratic process, the Democratic Party process for electing their standard bearer, our standard bearer, look like?
I know your time is running short. Just one more for you. At this point, several candidates have said it's time for their counterparts to drop out, but none of them, of course, have taken the leap. At what point should there be calls for candidates to drop out and support the frontrunner?
Well, we started out with 25 candidates. We're at 7 or 8 now, so the vast majority have indeed left the race, and they're wonderful people who are going to support the standard bearer. After this Saturday and after next Tuesday, candidates who are not doing well, I'm confident, are going to ask themselves that same question, because this is the hardest stage for a candidate. You've worked your tail off, but when it becomes clear that you're not going to make it to the mountaintop, again, I'm confident that these candidates are going to understand that it's not about me, and we have to come together as a party. And so I think you'll see after this Saturday and again after Super Tuesday next week, additional candidates who will make that tough decision.
Tom Perez, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be with you.